Welcome to Out of the Park, the podcast show where four guys have four different opinions, and it's all on sports. Unfortunately, today there's only two of us. I am Vincent Garcia, and with me is Ryan Osborn. Anthony Martinez and Drew Miller are out today, but hey, usually two guys is pretty fun, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. It finally happened. We kicked them out. No.
Well,
not really. Not really.
No, not really. Well, we'll find out next week what happened, but Anthony will give you a pass. Drew, hope you feel better. And just this past weekend, everyone's aware of it, NBA Finals ended on Sunday night.
Absolutely.
On Father's Day. And hope all the fathers enjoyed their Father's Day. So, I mean, it's fun to have dads, isn't it? I mean,
absolutely.
Especially, hey, remember the scene in Field of Dreams? You want to have a catch?
There you go.
It's the most tear-jerking moment in any sports movie, maybe in all time. Grown men cry on that scene. I mean,
of course. Yeah,
it's just so touching. But on Father's Day, the Cleveland Cavaliers won Game 7 in Oakland at Roracle, as the sports world calls it, arena. And Steph Curry didn't go back-to-back. The Warriors didn't go back-to-back. Didn't complete the ending season. So, Ryan, we were talking about this earlier before we started, and we actually agreed that this was not a Cleveland comeback. This was a Warrior meltdown.
Absolutely. It wasn't something that the Cavs did right as much as it is something that the Warriors ended up doing wrong. The Warriors didn't close out the game. They had an 8-point lead going into the half. They had a 4-point lead going into the fourth quarter. With 8 minutes to go, they still had that 4-point lead, and they just stopped using their offense. Nobody was moving. Everybody went to the four corners. He had a couple of power forwards go out to the left when they came up the court, and then he had Thompson and Curry bringing up the ball. Nobody else moved. Andre Iguodala went into the corner, and he stayed there. He didn't dive. He didn't try to get to the basket. Other than that, the Warriors, they were lackadaisical on defense as well. Offense was their main key all season, and so once they went down on offense and they weren't getting into their rhythm, it was all over.
And you talk about the physical mistakes they made, also mentally too. There was a lot of mental breakdown was going on because the Draymond Green suspension. Some say that affected them. And maybe it could also be Game 7 pressure because, now I look back, they had a Game 7 in the conference finals against OKC. So they've been in that situation, but I think when it's like, the last game of the NBA season, I think more gets into your head a little bit.
Yeah, and the thing is that when you look at Steph Curry and Klay Thompson in that Game 7, combined in that fourth quarter, they had a total of 6 points.
Oh, geez, yeah.
6 points, and they combined in the second half to create 8 turnovers. Mm-hmm. That is unacceptable from your unanimous MVP and also the second superstar in your lineup. You cannot have that. And if you look at the playoffs, it's guys who are on the bench, guys like Andre Iguodala, guys like Leandro Barbosa, Andrew Bogut, who were contributing, Harrison Barnes and Draymond Green getting hot. It was not Steph Curry and Klay Thompson who carried them in the playoffs. They carried them throughout the regular season, but once playoff time came up, both Curry and Thompson choked the entire playoffs. You can't just blame them for the finals. They didn't show up the entire playoffs. Curry only had 3 games where he scored over 30 points.
And what bothered me, too, looking back at that Game 7, that no-look pass that he did, I mean, like, okay, we've seen it in the regular season, and I understand, like, it's nothing, like, I've done this before, but how it happened is kind of like, it's Game 7. You really shouldn't do stuff like that. I mean, like...
Unless you know 100% that it's going to succeed, do not take the risk.
Yeah, and also with LeBron James, I mean, it makes sense he won the MVP because he did break a lot of records.
I think he deserves it.
Yeah, he deserves it. But also, I think Kyrie Irving also helped out the Cavs just as much as LeBron did because Kyrie, he hit the shot that clinched the championship, you could say.
Indeed.
And and we look back at last year with Kyrie out. Here's why I think Kyrie was more valuable to the Cavs than LeBron James because last year it was all LeBron. And he didn't win the championship, obviously. It was to Golden State. Kyrie comes in, comes up clutch. 41 points in game was it game 5? Yeah, 41 points in game 5, and then in game 7, hitting all those threes and coming up clutch when the moment counted. That's why I think Kyrie was more valuable in this series than what LeBron was this year.
See, here's where I differ in opinion on there. LeBron James deserved that MVP because it was LeBron James who opened it up for Kyrie Irving. All that attention that was drawn to LeBron James when he would drive into the lane. You saw it in Game 7. He would drive into the lane and you had Iguodala on him and then you would have Draymond Green on him. That takes 2 defenders and it opens it up for Curry to go backdoor, come back up to the top of the arc, and he could just set, plant, and shoot. And you also saw that in Game 3 when the Cavs just took it to the Warriors. Kyrie Irving had a 30-plus point game. He was taking shots from well beyond the arc. And the thing is that LeBron James, when he drives into the middle, he is one of the most dynamic players in NBA history. That's right, of all time. And it allows Kyrie Irving to be able to get that open space so that way he can create. So LeBron James, his impact is allowing Kyrie Irving to be able to get open and become that dynamic player.
And, good point. And also, we talk about the third guy that was part of the big three, Kevin Love. Kevin Love missed, but those rebounds, though, I look back and it's just like, I know Kevin Love didn't produce, and of course the Cavaliers fans did the GoFundMe page to bench Kevin Love, but I think that talk about the GoFundMe page, I think that helped Kevin Love because I think he picked all that up and he just probably thought, the fans aren't happy, they're not satisfied, but maybe I can make a difference. And he didn't produce offensively, but defensively with the rebounds, you got to give the guy credit. I mean, he did. The Cavs backed him up and stuff, and they said, "Oh, we got you covered. Don't worry. You're struggling, but you have a team behind you." And what do you think on that, Ryan?
Yeah, here's the thing. The impact that he had on Game 7 was tremendous. You saw Games 1 through 6, he was non-existent, even when he was on the court or scoring. Just non-existent. There was no impact on the game while he was on the floor. But in Game 7, he had 3 crucial rebounds with 2 minutes left to go in the game, and it gave second-chance opportunities to the Cavs, especially with a little over a minute to go. He had an offensive board, and that led to LeBron James being able to get to the basket, attempting to dunk on Draymond Green, and he got to the foul line and sank 1 of 2 free throws.
And you brought up Andre Iguodala, and I just thought of this right now. You remember that the block that LeBron had that basically is the symbol of his finals? Just that block was
smacking it away.
First off, what were the Warriors thinking? LeBron's going to come up out of nowhere, but they just let him be, and then Curry wasn't looking around. But even if Curry stepped in front, he would have been bulldozered and drilled into the hardwood 6 feet.
I'm no NBA player, and I'm not going to criticize Andre Iguodala, but I will tell you what most coaches are going to say about that play. They're going to say is what you do. You have a defender to your left and one coming in from behind. You go with the pump fake, and you take it to the reverse. You go to the reverse, go up strong with the left hand, and you put it into the basket. You're going to get an and one because you have the defender in the air behind you. You're going to get contact, drain the layup on the reverse, and then be able to get to the line.
And with the Draymond Green, of course, we talked about the talks about was that the change in the finals? What about Andrew Bogut's injury? Did that change the Warriors game too? Because he was making was it game 4 or 5? I forget what it was, where he was just making blocks on LeBron and everybody. He was just blocking everybody that was coming his way. And then with him out, it was like, well, who's the blocker now? Who do you have to, up in the paint to get those rebounds and also block shots? That could have been an effect too with the Warriors' collapse as well at the end.
Yeah, the biggest impact that Andrew Bogut had on the Warriors while he wasn't there is the fact that they couldn't stop the offensive boards from Cleveland. Tristan Thompson started to hit the glass and started being more and more aggressive, knowing that Bogut wasn't going to be there. Maurice Spates, sure, he's a good backup guy, but he's not going to be as mobile defensively as Andrew Bogut. Andrew Bogut is there to clog up the lane. He's meant to be within that 10-foot range of the basket and not allow anyone to get near the basket. Tristan Thompson took advantage of Mo Spates the entire time, was able to get to the glass, get the Cavs second chance opportunities, and it killed them overall. Andrew Bogut, in terms of blocks, when you talk of blocks, he had a combined 17 blocks over the first 4 games.
And of course, the finals ended. That's good talk right there. And yesterday was the parade in Cleveland. And
impressive.
Almost 1 million people. Or did it hit 1 million?
1.4.
1.4 million. Wow. That tells you how loyal the city of Cleveland is. Mm-hmm. I mean, with all their sports. And LeBron says he has no intentions of leaving, but there's a possibility he'll opt out just so he can get a raise.
Of course. I mean, if you're the best athlete in your sport, overall athlete. I'm not talking about best player, but if you're the best athlete in your sport, you're going to want to raise. No matter how much you're making, you're going to want to raise. And LeBron, he deserves it. He brought a championship to Cleveland. I highly doubt that they'll, harbor some bad feelings over a couple more $1 million if he brings them a championship.
Yeah.
The thing is that what's most impressive about this parade is 1.4 million people showed up. That's from the immediate area of Cleveland. Mm-hmm. People say, oh, the Cleveland Cavaliers have this giant LeBron bandwagon, and since they have the big 3, oh, that's where all their fans are coming from. Not really. 1.4 million people from around the city of Cleveland, that's just Cleveland. Those are Cleveland fans that showed up to a parade. You look at the Pittsburgh Penguins, they had 400,000 people. That was impressive. But 1.4 million people, that is 1 million more people.
And that's just one city. I mean, because you talk about like what we had back in 2010, the last time we've had a championship
with the
Lakers. I mean, like that's not just LA. That's, Orange County, Inland Empire, some San Diego fans coming up, Bakersfield. Yeah, it's one thing in LA to have. You say there was 1.4 million at a Lakers parade. Remember, it's bigger. There's much more perimeter for Lakers fans base, but for Cleveland, that's one city. And the crazy thing is, I found this on SportsCenter that if you had jury duty that day and you went to the parade, there's no warrants. Indeed. You're off the hook.
In fact, you didn't need to go to court if you were the one on trial. That's how amazing this city embraced the championship team. Kids were excused from going to school.
I think I was excused from school when the Angels won in 2002.
There you go. But yeah, kids were excused from going to school. You didn't have to appear in court if you were on trial. It was just the entire city embracing the championship that was.
Now, after this season, does it look like the Cavs will be a threat next year? Does it sound? Are they going to be that back-to-back threat, or it's just like, oh, it's 1 year, it's over?
In my opinion, I think that they will get very close. They'll get to the Eastern Conference Finals easily. Will they get to the NBA Finals? I don't think so.
Okay.
It just doesn't have that same feel. It feels like they had too much invested in one season. Mm-hmm. They got their goal, and then you don't know whether the rest of the guys are going to want a raise as well. J.R. Smith. Unfortunately, he's one of the most selfish players in basketball, especially when he was alongside Carmelo Anthony. One wonders how they were able to share the ball or court at all.
JR actually said before the finals ended that he was going to go into free agency to test the market.
There you go. They want a raise. So the question is, did they have too much invested into this one season? Yeah, maybe they did, but they got that goal. They won the championship, and they beat the Warriors. Yeah. Retribution.
Yeah. And this is what makes me bitter about LeBron, because, I mean, LeBron he is one of the most hated guys in the NBA because of the things he does, the flopping, the stuff that he says, that, I'm confident because I'm the best player in the world, very, not as humble as Michael was, but this is. I mean, I understand. I know Cleveland's been through a lot. They always say, "Oh, just give us one. Just give us one." But I had this feeling like, really, this guy betrayed you back in 2010, and this city all of a sudden loves you, and you get 2 championships in Miami. This is if I was a Cavalier fan, I mean, yeah, okay, you got to win for the city, but at the same time, I'd be that fan that says, you know what, LeBron? Yeah, you gave us a championship like you promised, but guess what? Win 3 championships, and I'll forgive you. Because I would want you to win more championships in your city that you love the most, that you grew up in Northeast Ohio. You love the Cavs. You love the city. You've been through the heartbreaks. You know, you experienced 1997 as a kid. You experienced Jose Mesa not closing it out in 97. You experienced 2007, the 3-1 collapse against the Boston Red Sox. No, it was the Red Sox with the Indians. It's like you experienced those, but for you to stab your city in the back like that just because you didn't want to go down as the best player to not get a championship, it just makes me bitter about him. So I say, like, LeBron, if you win 3 championships, I'll forgive you. If you win 3 championships in Cleveland, I'll forgive you. I'm sorry. I'm that bitter.
Here's the thing. I love the explanation that he gave in the letter to Cleveland fans when he decided that he was coming back to Cleveland. He explained, I never went to college. This is LeBron speaking. I never went to college.
Miami was like college. I remember
Miami
that, yeah.
was like college. I love that explanation.
Okay.
Because what if he had gone to college? Would they have been bitter that he won a championship somewhere else instead of going to Miami University or Ohio State? No. They would have been like, okay, LeBron's the favorite son. He went out, he got himself a championship, went out to college, did his thing, and now he's in Cleveland. It's the same thing as him going to college. He went away for 4 years and came back. Now he's back in the city of Cleveland doing exactly what he said he would do. He said that he would bring them a championship, and he's done that.
Yeah. So that's what happened in the NBA Finals. Now we're still in the NBA. The NBA this year, free agency has gone crazy. You got Kevin Durant. We talked about Kevin Durant in week 1. And Anthony had the game for us on who would be the best choices.
That's right.
And Golden State's the front runner right now. Now I want to bring that up because, Golden State, they lose the championship, but I've heard stories that, like, if they won back to back, they wouldn't go for Kevin Durant. I heard something like they wouldn't.
They can't, because what you got to understand as a sports fan is that, yeah, it's nice that your team won the championship, but each and every player on that championship team gets a percentage raise. So if, let's say, Durant is signed for $21 million a season and he's on a championship team, then his money-making per season just went up to 25. That's something that also counts against the salary cap.
Okay.
So the salary cap doesn't expand for that team to cover those inflations. Instead, it stays the same. It's a hard cap, and they have to pay the luxury tax, and they're already almost going over the luxury tax. So had they won back-to-back championships, imagine those guys getting an extra raise. That entire group that won last year and got a raise, getting another raise, they wouldn't be able to afford Kevin Durant at all.
Wow. And so now if they do sign him, will you be surprised? I mean, you did say that. I
would be surprised.
Because you did say that, you said in week 1 that OKC, he created the franchise. He he expanded basketball in the Midwest and, the recovery from Seattle and whatnot. And then I said if he goes to Golden State, he'll get, I'd say, no season. Just give him 5 rings already.
Yeah.
And then Curry would have his 6 and whatnot. So... But you still think it'd be a surprise, even if he goes to Golden State?
I believe that anywhere that's not either OKC or Washington is a surprise.
Oh, yeah, because I said Washington, too. I said, even though you won the Boston argument that we had, I mean, I still thought, homesickness kicks in, but
it's where his mom
his mom still lives there, but she still went to the OKC games anyway.
Right.
But at the same time, like, you go home, she doesn't have that much to travel. She just, like, either drive down the street or whatnot. So. Right. But Yeah, the Kevin Durant talk is the biggest since LeBron in 2010. But there's two more free agency talks that really stood out to me. The one that actually, well, one of them wasn't surprised, but this one actually was Dirk Nowitzki opting out from the Mavericks. Now, is he doing it because he wants a raise, or is he doing it because he figures that he's had his time in Dallas and he just wants to play somewhere else?
No, he wants a raise. Here's why. About 6 years ago, before they won the championship, he took a pay cut. So that way they could afford for everyone to come to the city of Dallas, and they were able to win that championship.
Yeah, because who did he have? He had Jason Kidd, and he had Terry, right? Terry was on the team?
Jason Terry. He also had, I can't think of the name, big center.
But we'll get back to
Tyson Chandler.
Tyson Chandler, that's it.
There you go. And then they had J.J. Barea as well. He took a pay cut back then and said, I want a championship. He got the championship. Well, that pay cut contract is coming up. And so if he has the chance to take money, of course he's going to take money. They're nowhere near a championship right now.
You don't think it's like a sign of like retirement? Because he's almost there. He's getting to that. You know, it's like Tim Duncan's going to have his last season. It sounds like Dirk Nowitzki is next in line of retirement.
So. Yeah. I mean, Dirk is, now top 7 in scoring all time? Yep. Something like that? Yeah, this is just he's trying to get as much money as possible before he goes. Because if he leaves and retires in his current contract, then he would only be awarded the money that he has right now.
Okay.
If he gets himself a brand new contract, he would get the money on this current contract and the contract to come.
All right. So, and the other free agency opt-out, but I have a feeling that he's not happy where he is right now. It's Dwight Howard in Houston.
Yeah,
I have a feeling
he's no longer a Rocket.
Yeah, he doesn't. But where would he go? Is the thing.
That is the question.
Yeah, that's why I wish we had Anthony here, because I think he'd have some good arguments too. But I mean, I thought I would say Brooklyn, but Brooklyn, don't they have some issues with their salary cap or whatnot?
They have issues with their salary cap, and they already have a center.
They do.
So here are my top 2 locations for Dwight Howard. One is New York City.
Oh, totally.
With the New York Knicks.
Well, after getting Derrick Rose, which we'll get to next.
Absolutely. New York City with the New York Knicks, it would be a good situation because now they just traded Lopez in that trade for Derrick Rose. They have Derrick Rose now. They're going to want to capitalize on that as soon as possible. Derrick Rose, Carmelo Anthony, and Dwight Howard.
Yeah.
Dwight Howard wouldn't have to be the star.
Oh, exactly.
So the pressure,
even though he wants the spotlight, like you said in week 1.
Even though he wants the spotlight, he wouldn't have to be the star. That would be Carmelo's burden to bear.
Yeah.
So it's a good situation there. The other place that I would see him going is Miami.
Oh, yeah.
They have Hassan Whiteside, but the thing is that Whiteside isn't as comfortable playing the power forward position or playing the center position that they forced him to do. So if they bring in Dwight Howard, then Dwight Howard can be that defensive center, and Hassan Whiteside can just create on the offensive glass.
Wow. So those are the top 2. I mean, nowhere else? Like, those are the best?
You might see the Warriors make just small talk towards him.
But they won't make a big splash.
Yeah, they won't make a big splash. They won't give him something ridiculous like $17 million a year, but they may give him something smaller, something like maybe a 10 or an 8. They'll offer him something. They'll kind of test the waters, but they won't aggressively go after him.
But is Dwight Howard, is he in the market for just to play for a better team, or is he in the market because he wants that ring?
I think
that's where the debate kicks in a little bit.
I think he wants to play for a better team. A better team overall. I'm not talking about like the organization, but a better team. He wants the ring, sure, but it seems like he enjoys attention a lot more.
Yeah.
So even if his team doesn't
he is a prima donna, like you said.
Absolutely. Even if his team doesn't win the championship, he wants attention, and that's why I'm saying New York would be perfect for him. He doesn't have to be the star. He'll still get that spotlight because it's New York. It's that place where everybody wants to go, and media coverage would be ridiculous. They would still talk to him after every game, something that doesn't happen in Houston or Orlando. They'd still talk to him after every game, but he doesn't have to be the star where everybody says he's the reason why they didn't win.
Wow. So you're bringing up the Knicks. The biggest trade that happened, well, it was probably the first trade that happened, is, of course, we said Derrick Rose going to New York. But it sounds like it's not a surprise that the Bulls did get rid of him, because we were talking earlier before we came into the studio that it's like we compared it to what the Dodgers had a couple years ago with Matt Kemp.
Right.
Because Magic Johnson said Matt Kemp is the Kobe Bryant of the Dodgers. And that's why he got that big contract and that extension. Matt Kemp keeps getting hurt, and then all of a sudden they just say, you know what, he's getting hurt, let's get rid of him. Somebody else will take care of him. Then he goes to the Padres. He gets traded to the Padres, and they focus on more of their farm system. I mean, they say now Puig is the face now of the Dodger outfield. And now with Derrick Rose, Derrick Rose came in and they're like, this kid's the franchise. This is our, 21st century of Jordan. He's going to help us out. But then all of a sudden he keeps getting hurt. And now I see Jimmy Butler as the guy that Chicago Bulls fans are looking at more. So at first it was a surprise, but now I look back, it's like, well, you got Jimmy Butler right now. Jimmy Butler's the face of the Chicago Bulls right now. And if Derrick Rose was healthy, it'd be a whole different story right now.
Yeah. Here's what's surprising about this story for me is that they got so little for Derrick Rose.
They got a draft pick.
They got a draft pick and they got a center.
Yeah.
For a guy who was a former MVP just 4 years ago, he was an MVP of the entire NBA. He stole it from LeBron, but he actually earned it. It wasn't like in 2008, I think it was 2008, where, Steve Nash took Kobe's MVP award.
I think this was 07 maybe.
Or 07.
Yeah.
This was something that Derrick Rose, he deserved it. He outplayed LeBron. This is a former MVP. He has shown that he can be clutch in the postseason as well. He's hit multiple game-winning shots. In fact, he almost beat the Heat and the Cavaliers.
Yep.
That were LeBron-led.
Yeah.
So it's kind of surprising that even though he still has so much potential, Chicago, he was a native of Chicago. He was from the city of the
Chi-town.
He was from the city of Chicago. And they got so little for him. That's what's surprising for me. The fact that he was traded isn't, but the fact that they didn't get as much, that's surprising.
So does it look like that Chicago is kind of rebuilding as of right now? Does it look like a rebuilding mode in Chicago?
It does.
Does it look like 1998 all over again when Jordan retired and left?
Yeah. You're kind of getting that same vibe. They get their superstar goes away. They got to have that bridge the gap guy. That's Jimmy Butler. He's only 24 years old. He can carry them through the next, let's say, 6 years if he doesn't decide to opt out or go into free agency. Take them through those next 6 years, get a couple good draft picks, get another star like Rose, and then they'll be able to bridge that gap.
And now it makes sense why you said that the Knicks would go after Dwight Howard, because it looks like if they do, there's your big three right there. So now that you say that, if Dwight Howard goes to New York to the Knicks, specifically not Brooklyn, but the Knicks, and then you got Derrick Rose already there right now, do you think the Knicks will be a threat next year if they do get Dwight Howard? But I don't think they will without. I don't think if they don't get Dwight Howard, they're not going to be a threat. No.
Because they don't have anybody in the middle.
So,
well, I guess they have Kristaps Porzingis. But he still needs time to develop.
He needs time, yeah, he needs time. But if they get Dwight, you put the Knicks as a threat in the East. A threat to Cleveland, that
immediate threat, like as in next year, no. The year after, absolutely.
So to give them a couple more years?
Yes.
Oh, okay. No, that makes total sense. I mean, it's just, I thought it would be like click right away, but like you said, it does take time because because Porzingis needs time as well.
Yeah,
you just said it's like.
And then imagine if Dwight Howard goes to New York, he can also help Porzingis develop on the defensive side of the glass. Porzingis is very skilled offensively. He comes from a European basketball type of play, very creative on the glass. But the thing is that he needs to shore up a little bit more defensively, and who better than a former 3-time Defensive Player of the Year in Dwight Howard.
Yeah, and while we're on Derrick Rose, I was actually, last night I was listening to the radio. I was listening to Power 106, actually, and all of a sudden somebody called in. I don't know if they won tickets or something, or like a giveaway, and the person said, hey, there's some breaking news in the NBA. So, okay, what's the breaking news? Derrick Rose has just torn his ACL while packing his bags to go to New York.
Oh, okay.
I was like, that's the best joke already. It's just like that. It's just like the meme where it shows Derrick Rose where it says, I'm going to play 110% this season. And they show the picture of the guy, of the Why You Always Lying guy with that little smile of his. It's like, look it up online if you get the chance. It's a funny meme. You guys will love it to death.
See, that's the problem. He plays 110%, and since he goes with that extra 10%, it pulls his ACL.
It pulls anything. It's
anything.
Anything. And so, while we're still on NBA, one more topic we can talk about tonight is the NBA draft.
Indeed.
And, of course, the biggest talk is Ben Simmons is promised by the Sixers that he will go number 1. I remember when the lottery happened. I mean, I was hoping the Lakers would get the number 1 because I do like Ben Simmons. They say he's the next LeBron. I mean, he does play like LeBron. You know, up and down the court, the guy plays 100% every play, and but I remember I was talking to even NBA fans, not just Laker fans, but also NBA fans. And, you know, some Laker fans were like, oh, the Lakers need to keep losing games and stuff so we can get the number 1 pick. But then I said, let me tell you something. When you have a lottery, would you rather have the worst record and lose the pick, or have the 3rd or 4th worst record and get the number 1 pick? So it kind of seesaws a little bit. I mean, because, you know, the Sixers had the worst record. But they had higher chances, and they get the number 1 pick eventually. But when I found out they got number 1, I thought about it, and I just said, you really think Brandon Ingram is going to help the Lakers? I mean, I honestly thought Buddy Hield would be talks in the number 2. But the thing is, Buddy Hield is picked to go, I think, 10th or 7th to Sacramento.
Right now, he is projected to go 7th overall.
In Sacramento, correct? Or is it somewhere else?
I'm double checking.
Oh, wow. But, I mean, but he did train in L.A. He did train in El Segundo. Yeah. So, but the thing is the Lakers, they have their guards. They just need a big man. And the only big man that they can get or think of is Brandon Ingram. But the thing that's holding him back is his size. Because, you know, he's 6'7", 190 pounds. That's not much in the NBA, especially as a power forward. Oh, to Denver. Wow, he dropped a little bit. Or he went up a bit because he was picked to go to Sacramento. Now he's picked to go to Denver. Oh, geez. This is going to get interesting.
Your current draft order, what it will be, is the 76ers, followed by the Lakers, then the Celtics. That one's via Brooklyn because they got the trade in the trade for Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce.
That's right, yep.
Then it's going to be Phoenix, followed by Minnesota, New Orleans, then Denver, and Sacramento.
Wow.
And then to round out the top 10, it is Toronto, and that one's interesting because that's the one for Andrea Bargnani. Mm-hmm. That's that first-round draft pick. So Toronto's at the 9, and Milwaukee is at the 10. Right now, when you look at it, draft prospects, the Lakers would do well with Brandon Ingram. When you talked about Ben Simmons earlier, I think that a good comparison for him is more of a Kevin Durant type of basketball player. The reason
for Ingram? For Ingram, right? Or Simmons?
For Simmons.
Really?
6'10", 220 pounds.
40.
Or 240
He beefed up a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. He had some double cheeseburgers. Came to L.A., had some In and Out.
Yeah, just so he can make weight.
Yeah, so he can make weight. But yeah, 6'10", 240 pounds. Mm-hmm. He still has time to grow. When you look at Kevin Durant after he came out of Texas, he was 6'9".
Yeah.
Right now he's 6'11".
Yeah.
So Ben Simmons, assuming that, let's just say he only grows 1 more inch or half an inch. That's 6'11", 240 pounds. That's a big boy.
Yeah.
He's going to be attacking the basket, and that's something that Kevin Durant used to do very well, is attack the rim. He would get into the lane, he would drive, and then he would kind of float out towards the perimeter and get the open three-point shots. But lately he's been trying to just force them out. That's something that has been a downfall in his game as of late. But for Ben Simmons, one of the great things that he does is he creates offensively. He goes down the floor, gets into the lane, and he can kick it out and start an offensive set. That's something that Kevin Durant would do at Texas as well.
So, and if Brandon Ingram, if he does go to LA, which is probably he will eventually, he has time to beef up too. Now I look at it, it's like, because it's different. Training in college is a lot different compared to the NBA. You're lifting more weights. You're lifting more, especially. It's not just, you're lifting bigger weights. No, you're training more. And it's like college, because college weight training kind of affects you a little bit because you got the classes, and if you have like an on-campus job, that also affects too. Then you got studying. You kind of lose your weightlifting time, but whereas the NBA, you have all the time in the world. So now I look back, I think about it. Brandon Ingram could beef up, and he could be that new Laker big man. And in a couple years, I mean, the Lakers are in rebuilding mode, but it's still some time. And with Luke Walton, you think he's got a chance? I think
as the head coach, he would do very well, because that he comes from
Steve Kerr,
a background of not only Steve Kerr, but
Bill
as
Walton.
a player, he had Bill Walton as his father.
And he also had
Phil
Jackson
as
his coach,
as his coach and mentor.
Yes.
While in LA, not just as his coach, because Walton came in the early 2000s. He has him as his mentor. Triangle offense is going to be coming back.
Oh, geez, yes.
That's going to help out a lot when you see the rookies such as D'Angelo Russell bringing it up the floor. And then in the middle, you're going to have, let's say, Brandon Ingram. And then you also have, I can't think of his name.
Julius.
There you go.
Julius Randle.
Julius Randle in the middle. That's going to open things up so much more for them. And those rookies can take over. Jordan Clarkson can also bring up the ball as well.
Okay, so but do you think the Lakers will try to do another big man signing? Like, do you think they'll go in the free agent market again, or
they need to test the free agent market for a center? Because
if
they get Brandon Ingram and they have Julius Randle, those are two guys who can play the power forward position, and it's going to be tough for them if they want to slot someone into the center role.
All right, and what do you think? Let's see. Since you brought up the Celtics. Number 3, Jaylen Brown.
Yeah.
From Cal. He's a guard and a forward. 6'7", 225 pounds.
And when I look back at him from Cal, Jaylen Brown, there's another guy in the NBA who kind of has the same tenacity as Brown, and he plays in San Francisco or Oakland. That's Andre Iguodala.
Yep.
6'6".
Yep.
220 to 240 pounds, depending on what city he plays in.
Yes.
But yeah, same intensity, same kind of player, very defensive-minded, but can attack the basket. Here's the thing about Jaylen Brown. He can knock down shots.
Yeah.
Something that Andre Iguodala could never do. He can hit the occasional three, but he can't hit open jump shots. He's a strictly drive-only type of player. Jaylen Brown has that mid-range.
All right, so those are the top 3 picks we just talked about, but I'm sorry, but I have this thing on Buddy Hield. Maybe little man crush Monday this week is Buddy Hield for me, but you're making comparisons. How about Buddy Hield? I mean, because I still remember that one tweet when Buddy Hield, when Kobe was in Anaheim, and Buddy Hield and Kobe were talking, and somebody took the picture and they posted, or the caption said, "Passing to the torch?" ? But to be honest, no, there's no comparison to Kobe Bryant, especially not Buddy Hield. But who would be, since we are, like I said, talking comparisons, who could you compare Buddy Hield to out of all the guards in the NBA right now?
In the NBA right now, well, I would look at a guard who is kind of past his prime, not really playing as well as he used to, Monte Ellis.
Really?
Elite scorer. That's something that Buddy Hield has in him. Once he gets on a roll, he has the ability to just light up an opposition. Some people have said Klay Thompson, but the thing is that Buddy Hield can drive.
Yes.
Klay Thompson loves to stick to the perimeter.
Yep.
Buddy Hield can drive and go inside and just stop right at the elbow and put it up and put it into the basket. That's something that Ellis used to do while he was playing with the Warriors and very early on while he was with the Bucks.
Yeah. All right. So that's our NBA talk. Now let's go for what's going on this weekend, and we've had it this week. Soccer.
Soccer.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah.
Football.
I mean, yeah, we can do
football.
Yeah, we could if we have the time after we talk soccer, maybe we'll get baseball, but if not, we'll get it next week for sure. But soccer's a lot bigger than baseball this week for sure.
Absolutely.
Especially
with the Copa America finishing up. We already have the final set, and then Euros is coming down to it. They're now, into the quarterfinals?
In the Euros? Yeah, it's quarter, yeah.
There you go.
And last week we were talking about, should we catch the Germany what was it?
Poland
game.
Poland.
And we got the chance to, and it ended in a draw.
Absolutely.
Your typical soccer game. You get excited, you're like, yes, oh no, and then all of a sudden at the end, it's mill, go home. What are we going to celebrate? Oh, that we actually played.
Yeah. Well, for Poland, that was a big victory because you just went up against one of the top 3 nations in the world in terms of soccer, and you drew.
Yes.
They didn't score a goal. They have Mueller, they have Ozil, they have Kadira. They didn't score whatsoever. Yes. And Poland, most of the game, about 70% of the game, they were on the attack. They had Germany on their heels. You looked at Manuel Neuer throughout the entire game while we were watching it, and he was frustrated. He was screaming at his defenders. He couldn't stand what they were doing, and he was trying to point out different coverages, and nobody was doing what they were supposed to. Poland had Germany on their heels.
Yeah, and then the one game that I got a chance to see, I think it was on I think it was last Friday, now I think about it. Or it was sometime this week.
6 days ago.
Maybe it was 6 days ago. It was actually, wait, it is Friday.
Friday.
And it was the Czech Republic versus Croatia. That was one of the craziest soccer games I saw because I think it was, I think the Czechs were up 2-0 or something at one point, and then all of a sudden, here comes Croatia in the second half, just bink, bink, and they took care of business. But then the one thing that, not just those goals that really caught my attention, which made the game exciting to watch, it's about how loyal soccer fans are in the world. Because if you got the chance to watch the game, you might remember, but if you didn't, they were throwing fireworks and flares on the field. And I think it was the Czech fans that were doing it. And it was just like, I'm watching this game, and all I got to think about is like, here in America, you know what we do when we get mad? We throw beer cups, we throw trash and bags, and all of a sudden these people are bringing in flares and fireworks. What's with the security? Why is security so bad overseas and here it's like the best thing in the world, our security that we go through? I mean, come on. Now at Angel Stadium and even Dodger Stadium, all major league stadiums, you have to go through the bars. You have to go through the sensors. And if the beeper goes off, it better be your belt and your cell phone if you didn't take it out. But then you look overseas in the Euros. Really? Somebody actually brought in a flare gun, I heard. And I'm just like, why are soccer fans so loyal? Why are they that harsh?
Well, see, here's the thing. Now, it's good to be loyal.
No, I get that. No.
You love to see loyalty from your fans. They went a little overboard.
Totally.
Because they threw firecrackers onto the field, stuff that was exploding. In fact, it started a couple fires on the field that had to be put out by the officials.
And it almost blew off a security guard's face.
Indeed, because he went to go pick up the firecracker, and the explosion went off right into his face, and he had to go away wincing in pain because part of the plastic shrapnel did hit him. He sustained no injuries, luckily, as no one else did. But the thing is that you're seeing a little bit too much Too much fighting going on at the Euros.
Yeah.
You saw it a couple weeks ago when England and Russia played, and that turned into an all-out brawl. And the FIFA Federation threatened to ban Russia from the Euros altogether.
Yeah, totally. So now they're in the it's round of 16, correct? This weekend?
Round of 16.
Okay, so Switzerland and Poland. Let's just do our picks on who we're going to take. That's Saturday. Actually 3 of the games are on Saturday. So Switzerland, Poland. Who do you got?
I'm going to go with Poland if they can build off the momentum that they had in their previous 2 matches. Once again, that game against Germany. If they can build off that momentum, they should take the Swiss easily. The thing is that the Swiss are very good defensively, and their counterattack is one of the most deadly in the Euros.
All right, I'll take Poland as well. Wales and Northern Ireland. Sounds like Wales.
That's going to be Wales.
It's got to be Wales.
2-0.
Yeah. Okay. Croatia, Portugal.
See, here's the thing. Portugal, of
it's
course.
Cristiano Ronaldo versus Croatia, basically.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, I saw online.
It's not team versus team. It's team versus man.
Yeah, I saw online. I mean, the game plan for Portugal, it goes like this. Opening kickoff, pass to Ronaldo. Did Ronaldo score? Yes. Go back to opening kickoff. Pass to Ronaldo. Did Ronaldo score? No. Try it again. Pass to Ronaldo. That's been their game plan the entire time, and so far he has 3 goals in the tournament, and he saved them in their last game. Their last game against Hungary, they started off 1-0. Hungary took a goal, took an early lead in the 19th minute. Zoltan Guerra got the goal, and then Nani for Portugal tied the game up at 1 apiece. Then Zoltan Guerra, or make it Balázs Dudajek, got a free kick goal to go up 2-1.
Yep.
Less than 3 minutes later, Cristiano Ronaldo scores to tie it.
Yep.
Less than 5 minutes later, another Dudajek goal gets them to 3-2. Then Cristiano Ronaldo with a header ties it up once again. That was in the 62nd minute. Crazy, absolutely crazy match. But you take away those 2 goals from Portugal, and all of a sudden you have yourself a 3-1 match going to Hungary. Cristiano Ronaldo has the entire team of Portugal on his back right now.
Yes. Now for Sunday's games, France and Ireland. I think France, because from what they've gone through, with the Paris bombings and the attacks, you have to root for France.
Well, yeah. Not only do you want to see France win, but I also think that they're the better team.
They are. Yeah, they really are.
They've had to create more since Karim Benzema isn't in the tournament due to off the field circumstances. They've had to create more. They've had to go more to Paul Pogba and be able to. No, but to be able to create more so that way they can push towards the goal.
Yeah. I'm actually going to skip a few games because this one caught my attention because I said last week I was rooting for these 2 teams, Italy and Spain.
That's interesting.
What do I go for? I'm actually going to go for Spain because Spanish blood is in me. So got to go for the blood. I mean, yes, Italy, yeah, sounds like the better team, but who knows? Spain. I wouldn't be surprised if that ends in a draw. Now I think about it.
I would agree.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm going to say that Spain is going to take it because Italy's front attack isn't what it used to be, especially back when Balotelli was actually putting in goals. It's just not there. If Spain can push the tempo, then they're easily going to beat Italy.
All right, so now let's move over to let's go back
to Copa America.
Oh man, that USA-Argentina game. No surprise.
No surprise.
No, it's no surprise Argentina took care of it. I mean,
it was 4-0 Argentina, and they came out in the 3rd minute. They had a 1-0 lead.
Yes, and for USA, no shots on goal
whatsoever. Not
whatsoever. At all. Yeah, there was no chance. I mean, even when the game started, before the game started, right when I saw that matchup, I said, all I got where was the game played? By the way, was it in Chicago or was it somewhere else?
It was in Houston.
Oh, Houston. Okay. When I saw that game the match was happening, I just felt like going to the USA fans and say, "Hey, just enjoy that you got a chance to see Messi play."
Yeah,
that's all. Yeah, it's like you're not going to get a win tonight.
And play he did.
Yes, you're not going to get a win tonight, but you're going to see Messi play and like you said, play he did as well.
Yeah, see, the thing is that front four of Argentina, including Higuain and Messi, pushed the tempo against the United States, and it caused Beckerman and Bradley and Johnson to be in utter confusion. Mm-hmm. They had no idea who they had to cover, and Messi took advantage of it twice. One time he had that free kick goal. That was from long range, 27 meters out, and he was able to put that in. But then you go towards the fourth goal. That was Higuain and Messi hooking up. Johnson and Beckerman were nowhere near to be found. They lost the second man in transition, and Higuain had an easy tap in.
And the Chile-Colombia game,
I
can skip it.
No, it's
I can
fine.
skip it because I know you are Colombian.
I am Colombian.
Yeah,
it was disappointing. Here's the thing.
Hey! At least it wasn't 7-0.
That's true, and I feel really bad for the Mexican national team because Chile came out and they pushed. It was 2-0. Once the first half ended, they got a late goal in the second half, and that in the first half, and that absolutely broke the Mexican national team. They were confused. They didn't even look like they were there at the game. Mm-hmm. It was just something that was so sad to see. A 7-0 game, and you were just hoping that by the end of the game, maybe they might put something on the board just to, save face a little. But yeah, going back to the Colombia game, it was in the first 6 minutes, Chile was showing that they were going to open things up. They caused Carlos Sanchez to be able to come past the midfield marker, and that caused some defensive mistakes from Colombia. The back four of Colombia just couldn't take care of him, especially the center back in Sebastian Perez for Colombia. He wasn't able to find who his man was. And Christian Zapata also lost Alexis Sanchez on the second goal for Chile. And so Sanchez cut it right back across the grain, took the shot, came off the post, and it ended up going to another Chile player right into the net on a missed coverage.
So the final on Sunday, Argentina-Chile, I say Argentina's going to take it.
I say Chile.
Okay.
The reason being, Chile beat Argentina last year. 2-0 in the Copa America final. That was in Chile. Chile right now, they're on a roll.
Okay.
They absolutely know what it takes to win
after two shutouts, yeah. Now that I think about it,
they've had 4 shutouts this entire tournament.
4
shutouts.
Well, okay, because all I remember is the 2 with Colombia and Mexico, of course.
They've already had 4 this tournament, and last year they had 4 and they won the championship.
Okay, this is going to be interesting.
It is.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good game.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing. This is where it will be won or lost. Can Argentina counterattack quickly? Because Chile, what they do is they bring up 5 guys to go on the attack, and they leave their defense absolutely alone.
Yeah.
So, if Argentina can kick those long balls, get the tempo to push up towards that back line of Chile, then they're going to be able to expose some holes that the Argentinian defense has.
All right, and that's our Copa America talk, and let's see, how much time do we have? Oh, we got time, just a little bit of time. I wish we would have brought this up earlier, but this is a fun topic. Let's just say fun for less, basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we could do it right now. We did have Game 7, of course, on Sunday.
Right.
And I wanted to bring up what's the best Game 7s we've seen in the 21st century, because all time it's really tough.
Ooh.
It's tough for all time, but let's talk 21st century. So basically, our
21st
lifetime,
century,
our lifetime, basically,
yeah, so
what we've experienced.
We'll span it from 2000 to 2016.
Perfect. Yes.
All right. So the first one that comes to mind as a Kings fan, Game 7, 2014 against the Chicago Blackhawks. The Blackhawks went up 2-0. The Kings tied it.
Yep.
Blackhawks score again just 11 seconds later. The Kings tie it with Tyler Toffoli's goal. Blackhawks go on the lead once again, and the Kings had to tie it up late with Marian Gaborik's goal. And then they scored in overtime to be able to send them to the Stanley Cup Finals. That was a classic Game 7, something that everybody said the Stanley Cup Finals was played in the Western Conference Finals.
Yep.
That was one of the better Game 7s. And then I would have to go back to 2010 for the Lakers and the Celtics.
I'd go the same thing.
That was a great Game 7
and not just as a Laker fan, as a sports fan as well. Because I mean, even if I wasn't a Laker fan, I would have enjoyed that game a lot because it was intense. I mean, with almost 19,000 people jam packed in Staples Center, you can't go wrong with that. And it's one of those games where
actually it was 19,148.
19,148?
19,148.
All right. Yeah, that was
standing room only for basketball.
Yes, and I still remember. I look back at that 2010 game. You know, that game. I still remember. The date was June 17th, 2010.
Yep.
I always remember that day because earlier that day, I was at Knott's Berry Farm with two of my friends at the time, and we were burned out. We're like, man, we did all the rides. We're good. So we had to wait. We were waiting for my dad to pick me up, and we were waiting at Papa John's across the street from Knott's.
Right, next to the claim jumper?
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, we were waiting at Papa John's, and we're waiting for our pizza, and we're listening to the game on the radio. And I remember right when we got our pizza, it was halftime, and I saw that the Celtics were up by they were up. What were they up by, like 4 or something like that?
They were up by 4.
They were up by 4. And the first thing, I mean, as a Laker fan, you shouldn't say this, but at the time I was thinking it. I put my head down and said, another tough year against Boston. But then, sure enough, once I get home, turn on the TV or the projector. We had a projector. Yeah, we turned on the projector, bumped our speaker system all the way up, and we're just watching the game. And every shot that was made, especially the shots Ron Artest would make, I would yell. I'll always remember when he made that 3-pointer, when Kobe passed the ball to him, made a 3 that gave him, I think it was a 4-point lead or something like that, or 6-point lead, I think. I still remember. This is my exact reaction. No, yeah! Exactly. That's exactly what was going on.
Well,
and I was running around the house. I'm just like, oh my God, we're actually going to win this game?
Well, staying on the Lakers in Game 7, since we still have 3 minutes left, real quickly, 2002.
Western Conference
Finals, Game 7.
Pippen and the Blazers. You can't go wrong with that.
I'm sorry, that was
game.
2001.
Oh, was that 01?
That was 01.
So 2002 was...
the Kings.
That's right, yes. Against
Sacramento
Michael Bibby.
King. There you go.
Yeah,
Michael Bibby, Chris Webber.
Didn't Bibby drop like 37 points or something that game?
He had 37 in Game 6.
Oh, it was Game 6. Okay.
And then you had Vlade Divac with the perfect pass out to Robert Horry, who drains it, and the Lakers win.
Oh, that... when I see those highlights, I mean, I don't remember it because I was really young at the time, but seeing those highlights, all I keep thinking to myself is, I bet the Staples Center roof was going to bust. In fact, some of the people even said like the stadium was actually shaking.
Yeah.
Or the arena was actually shaking. That's how intense the game was. But even 2001 was just as intense too.
It actually set a sound record at Staples Center that wouldn't be broken until 2012.
Oh my. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Last Game 7 that I'm going to mention has specific meaning for both of us here at Southern California.
2002.
Game 7, 2002. Anaheim Angels win the World Series.
That game, I mean, like, as a lot of historians say, that was it wasn't a classic Game 7 because it wasn't a Game 7 like we expect. Game 6 was amazing.
That was like a Game 7.
Yeah, that was the Game 7.
That was
basically.
A shootout. Yeah.
Game 7 was like, because it was a 4-1 victory.
Right.
That was the one thing, and then it wasn't like back and forth. That's why they say 1960 was the greatest Game 7 ever because that was a comeback, and then of course Bill Mazeroski finishes it.
Not the World Series MVP though.
Not the World Series MVP.
Bobby Richardson
on the Yankees.
Yeah.
He was the first and the only player to win World Series MVP and lose the World Series on the losing team. First and only to do that.
Indeed.
Yes, and
he batted over 400 during the series and had over 17 RBIs, so he definitely deserved it.
Yeah, 2002 was always a fond memory in Angel fans and Southern California fans, especially Roy Marcus's call when he said the Angels are the champions of baseball, and we were that year, and hopefully it can come back soon in the next couple years. Well, that's the end of our show. And we'd like to thank you for listening to us. Even though it's only 2 guys today.
2 guys.
It was pretty fun.
Indeed.
You know, hey, two is just as fun as 4. I mean, 4 gets intense, but 2, hey, you and I, you know, we always see eye to eye. I mean,
Indeed.
Unless it's hockey, we're against each other. So for Ryan Osborn, I'm Vincent Gar. See ya out of the park.